The journey to return to the top of the WCC started back in January with the hiring of head coach Nick Carlin-Voigt.
Really excited to be your new head coach and your new leader. It's a fantastic opportunity, and it's a new era in Portland's men's soccer.
The turnaround has been faster than anyone could have imagined, and it's been a season filled with exciting moments and highlight reel plays.
Oh my goodness! I haven't seen anything like that before. Into the box. Shot. Goal, Portland!
Even with their setback at Pacific last Sunday, the Pilots still control their own destiny. A win over St. Mary's on Saturday night gives the Pilots the West Coast Conference title.
You have to believe you're going to get the job done. You have to give me everything you have. You have to give the program everything you have. It comes down to what are you willing to do to get something that you've never had before.
The battle for the West Coast Conference crown between the Portland Pilots and the St. Mary's Gales is next on CSN. Good evening and welcome to University of Portland Men's Soccer on CSN. And tonight it's Championship Saturday as the Pilots host the St. Mary's Gales at historic Myrtle Field. I am Adam Lindman, joined in the booth once again by Joe Slevin. Thanks for tuning in tonight. And Joe, lot on the line tonight, including the West Coast Conference title. Win and the Pilots are your conference champions. What is going through the minds of the Pilots tonight?
A lot of nerves, a lot of things to bounce. You have senior night, last game of the year. You're coming off 2 losses, but you still control your own destiny. It's championship time. And the Pilots, as much as they say it, they're not aware of these scenarios. They've played them out. They know what they need to do. And the most important part is they're controlling their own destiny. So expect them to come out firing, but don't expect the Gales to back down.
The Pilots having a great year, but last week it was a challenging road trip. They dropped a tough 2-1 decision in double overtime at number 6 Denver before going to Stockton and coming up on the short end of a 1-0 result at Pacific. Nice to be at home tonight, isn't it, for the Pilots?
Absolutely. For a number of reasons. That Denver game, it's a tough one. You go there, number 4 in the country at the time, and I don't think they expected to be in the position they were at that point. So do you rest your starters? Do you go for it? They gave it a go. They fell short ultimately, but they gave it a great shot. And then when it comes to the Pacific game, unfortunate to come out with that loss. But again, as we noted, they're still in control of their own destiny. A win here tonight seals the WCC championship.
But let's not forget about St. Mary's. They're still in the mix here. They could play the role of spoiler and also clinch the WCC title. What's their attack tonight?
You know, it's the Pilots with the win and knowing that a tie still in a certain scenario could get you that championship. The Gales, they need to win. They know that. There's no question about it. So don't expect them to sit back. Don't expect them to take it too easy. From the get-go, 90 minutes, I expect them to be going for that win.
And let's take a look at the West Coast Conference standings from exactly 1 year ago. A little bit of a different story with Portland and Pacific down there at the bottom. There you see San Diego and Santa Clara up on top. Fast forward a year and it's exactly the opposite. The Tigers and Pilots are on top, battling for the West Coast Conference title. St. Mary's right there in the mix once again. And Joe, the West Coast Conference, it's a crazy year this year, isn't it?
It really showed you how volatile the league is. Really, year over year, college soccer can fluctuate so much. Starting the season with 5 wins thrusts you into an incredible position. Then the season starts to wear on. 2 losses kind of put you in a very rough position. So this game right here, it's not just a bounce back, a statement game. It is the championship game.
And let's take a look at all of the possible scenarios here tonight. What's on the line? Well, if Portland wins, they are the West Coast Conference champions, and they will earn the league's automatic berth into the NCAA playoffs. If Portland ties and Pacific ties or loses up at Gonzaga, they're playing right now, Portland is your WCC champion. But if Pacific wins up there after Portland ties, Pacific will own the tiebreaker over the Pilots, and they will get the conference automatic berth into the postseason. Now, if Portland should happen to lose tonight and Pacific wins, Pacific is the West Coast Conference champion and the playoff representative. But if Pacific loses and Portland loses, St. Mary's will be the co-champion with the Pilots, but the Gales will get the playoff berth because they own the tiebreaker over the Pilots. A number of scenarios here, Joe. This is madness.
Well, first off, kudos for being able to do that in one take there. The most important thing, again, Portland win, you're in. That being said, that Pacific loss, it's on their mind. They're wanting to come back. The Gales know they have to go for a win. So everybody knows this. They've played it out in their minds. But I think what's important to note here is these guys have all been in big games. They know what it takes. This is just the next evolution in their career. So expect them to come out firing. They're going to have nerves, but those aren't bad things so long as you channel them into a very focused fashion towards this 90 minutes.
And we mentioned the Gales. They could play the role of the spoiler here tonight, or they could still win the whole thing. And earlier we caught up with their 11th year head coach, Adam Cooper.
For us, the last several years, we've done very well in conference, but we still haven't been playing for the title on the last game of the season. So that's a big step for us. It means a lot. It's the first time in the last couple of years that we've had a chance to win a WCC title. From where this team started and where we've grown, and I'm excited for the guys. I think they've earned it and they deserve a shot at it as much as they can. Their crowd's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a great soccer atmosphere. Portland's a soccer city. In general, it's going to be a great college atmosphere, and it's big for the WCC. It's great to have 3 teams playing for a title on the last day.
Now let's take a look at what is exactly on the line tonight. The Pilots looking for their first conference title since 2002. The Pilots have won 5 league titles overall. They're also looking for their first playoff berth since 2009. Overall, the Pilots have been to the playoffs 14 times, and they've been to 2 college cups in their storied history. And also Portland, if they win tonight, hoping to host a first-round game that would happen on November 17th at 7:30. And here's what head coach Nick Carlin-Voigt had to say earlier this week.
Well, how exciting for the group to have a game that means something on the last regular season game of the year. The program hasn't been in this position in a long time, and so, we'll take it one day at a time. We'll continue to stay true to our principles and try to get a little bit better than we were the day before. And the group has been very good at home all year. We expect a big crowd. We want to come out and really set the tempo of the game. St. Mary's is a good team, very gritty team, very talented team. They've played a tough schedule, and so it'll be 2 teams fighting for the same thing, and we're excited to come out and try to put our stamp on the game. We're looking forward, not backwards, and we've had a great season, and this is a chance to really even make it a better season.
First-year coach Nick Carlin-Voigt doing great things here on the Bluff. So plenty more to talk about when we come back. But first, a quick break on CSN.
We have the best fans in the country, without question.
The energy tonight was great. The best fans in the country.
There's no other school that does what we do.
Welcome back to Merlo Field, where some fans are getting in a little pregame tailgate just across the way. Perfect weather tonight in North Portland. We're expecting a huge crowd and a huge student showing. Haven't even mentioned yet that it's senior night on the Bluff. These 9 seniors will be making their final regular season appearance at Merlo Field. This group has been instrumental in the resurgence of men's soccer on the Bluff, and there they are. Jordan Baeza, Jeffrey Dunn, Christian Garcia Cabello, the twins, Connor and Rory Johnston, Thomas Peterson, Eddie Sanchez, who has had a decorated career, 3-time All-WCC first-team selection, Colby Trott and Dirk Vandervelde, and Slevin. How special is it to be playing for a league title on senior night?
We talked about the numbers of stars aligning for this game right here, and this is just another fold in this. These guys have been through the rough patches for their seasons. They've had losing seasons, a couple in a row. To have this opportunity not only to end on this momentous game, and it's also to do it with those guys you were in the trenches with, it's just something extra special for these guys.
Hard to believe that 4 years is already up. Eddie Sanchez, we got his thoughts on the night earlier this week.
It's unbelievable, honestly. Pleasure to be playing with this team and, to be fighting for something towards the end of the season. Can't complain with that. It's exciting. Our motto is one team, one goal, and family, just sticking through that all season. Since he's came here, that's what it's been, just sticking throughout adversity. And, we've gone through some this year, and, we're sticking with each other, and that's what's brought us this far, and, why change it now? It's been the goal since I've been here, just putting Portland back where it belongs, and that's what we've been trying to do, and that's been our mentality this year. Just trying to do big things, and we're not done, and it starts Saturday.
And here is a look at the Portland starting lineup this evening. There you see a Sanchez in the midfield. He has 6 goals and 7 assists this season. Benji Michel, what a season by the freshman. He leads the league with 10 goals, and he's helped the Pilots average just over 2 goals per game, which is 6th in the nation. Paul Christensen, Paul the Wall, he gets the start as usual in goal tonight. A little bit different back line ahead of him, though, as Jeffrey Dunn is starting at center back, and Chris Reeves, who has been playing center back for the Pilots all season long, he gets a start at holding midfield this evening against Slevin. What kind of adjustments will Reeves have to make tonight?
Yeah, not necessarily ideal to have to switch up your lineup in a game like this. That being said, these guys have played together and know each other. That role for Reeves really won't change. Yes, he's sitting in that midfield, but his job is to command the troops, to get everything settled down, to get everybody organized, let the offense do its job. You touched on it. They're doing their job. 2 goals a game. Get the back line sorted, and he's just in a different spot on the field trying to do the same thing.
Very well put, Joe Slevin, former holding midfielder for the Pilots. Time for another quick break, but when we come back, we'll have kickoff as well as the Gales starting 11. Welcome back to Merlo Field, home of University of Portland soccer and home to the Villa Drum Squad. There you see the infamous cheer squad making their way into Merlo Field. Let's take a look at the starting 11 for the visitors, the St. Mary's Gales. There you see it. In goal, it is Andrew Constantino. He's played most of the minutes between the pipes this season for the Gales. He has 1 shutout and a 1.36 goals against average. Freshman Anders Ingebretsen, he's a forward. He has a team-high 4 goals this year. And then some midfielders, sophomore midfielder Stephen Doherty. He's got a team best 4 assists, as does Rafael Sanchez, the senior. So starting lineups are being announced here at historic Merlo Field for an epic matchup this evening. The Portland student section is absolutely packed. Slevin, what kind of role are the students going to play tonight?
Absolutely massive role. As a player, this is the game you want to play in. It's championship time, under the lights, in front of the fans. You really couldn't have written a better script for how this season's come to an end. Yes, do you want to win it at Pacific? Absolutely. You still have this right in your hand. You can take it. It's 90 minutes away from you. It's going to take concentration, but you know, don't take away from these fans. They're going to be cheering them on in those moments, those lulls, those ebbs.
There's definitely a special vibe here this evening as the Pilots go after their first West Coast Conference title since 2002. Win, and it's theirs. A couple of other scenarios could play out, and we're keeping a close eye on the game going on right now up in Spokane, where Pacific, they are just behind the Pilots in the standings, and they're up at Gonzaga 1-0 at half. And Slev, you got to figure, I mean, if you're the Pilots, you have to expect the Pacific's going to win tonight, so you have one job to do.
And that's exactly how you're playing. What will be interesting, though, is kind of how you monitor that. You absolutely know you're going for a win. You're always going for a win, but it's just another kind of element that you're going to keep your eye on. Looking at this looking at this St. Mary's Gales lineup going to 3-4-3, they're absolutely going offensive. They're aware. Kickoff just started up at Gonzaga, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they already know it's 1-0 is where that game's at the moment.
And it's just, how fitting is it that it's all come down to the final night of the season, and how awesome is it that the Pilots are playing here at home?
It's great. Not very often will you see the top 3 teams either playing each other or in games that, you know, tie right in or influence each other. I think what they're going to have to do, though, is try to calm those nerves. They're there, they're going to motivate you, they're going to energize you, but there's some experience that's there. They're going to have to lead them. There's going to be some young energy as well. It's not a bad thing. It's just a balance. You got to find it.
The home side wearing the all-black uniforms. There you see a couple of seniors on senior night. Jeffrey Dunn, Dirk Vanderbilt, Paul the Wall in goal tonight. What can you say about the job he's done this season?
He's been fantastic. Just a consistent performer. You know what you're getting every single time. He's a senior leader. Sanchez is a senior leader there. And we talked about kind of that youth, that balance. Sometimes it's a good thing. You're not really maybe taken in that moment. You're just playing. You're just happy to be there. But Paul is your last line of defense, and he's going to kind of emanate that energy, that poise, that charisma as he's going forward throughout his other 10 players on the field.
So big game tonight. Let's talk about the head coach for St. Mary's, Adam Cooper. He's in his 11th year at the helm of the Gales. He is the winningest coach in program history for the Gales. And we have to mention associate head coach Chris Brown. There he is in the hat. He is the brother of former UP women's soccer goalkeeper coach Aiden Brown, who I am told is here tonight. So, I mean, several different storylines are being played tonight, aren't they?
Yeah, the soccer world, especially on this West Coast, is going to be small. The amount of crossing, lines crossing over. What you're seeing here also is a difference in kind of program. St. Mary's has been there for a year or two. Right there, they haven't quite been in the position to win it. They are now. Pilots, absolute 180 on the season. So it'll be interesting to see how they approach this game, but I think it speaks volumes to the Gales' experience and in that they were in this position or similar last season.
And we are underway, so sit back and enjoy a historic night of soccer here at Merlo Field between the Pilots and the St. Mary's Gales. Portland looking to attack early. They go wide to Vandervelde.
And what you'll see with this 3-4-3, it allows you those three up top, more options. And we got a chance here.
And some early action inside the area as Sanchez was able to get around the corner, but Constantino came out to meet him. Dangerous collision there.
As a player, that's an the very scary one to see them go in. Those cleats, he tucked them away at the end, but still those knees are exposed. Goalies are susceptible when they're going for the ball. Their first priority is to make that save. They're not necessarily protecting themselves or their body, so good to see that both players didn't get injured on that play.
I could never be a goalie. That looks absolutely terrifying.
They are a different breed. Oftentimes, quirky characters, you have to be to want to sit in front of balls coming 6 yards out going 60, 70 miles an hour. But, on an earlier point, we talked about this 3-4-3 from St. Mary's, not knowing if this is what they've done throughout the year. It's one that is offensive in that you have those three up top, people who can hold the ball up and get the ball moving around. But at the back,
this is Michelle near the end line. Did it take a touch off the Gales? It did not. Goal kick for St. Mary's.
At the back, you don't have a traditional right and left back. You have someone kind of sitting deeper and then two others sitting in front. It leaves you a little bit more susceptible down the wings, which we know is a very successful area for the Pilots. You have Jella on the bench, you have Dixon, you have Edwardson, so look for them to exploit that. Yes, it's the starting lineup. I don't think Carleen Voigt has been shy about changing up throughout the year at all.
And the student section getting creative with the TIFO over there. They couldn't quite display it before kickoff, but they are showing it right now. And that's an awesome sight over there in the UP student section.
It's full, absolutely full. So, we touched on it. 2002 is the last championship. When's the last time the vibe was like this? Being on that 2009 squad that went to the playoffs, it wasn't the same scenario. I believe we were 4-4-4 in conference, fourth place. What we had going for us is everybody was amazing in the preseason. They knocked off a couple people who were ranked at the time, and because of that, that RPI went up and shot up, and we got 4 bids from the conference itself. We peaked at the right time as well, winning the last game 5-1 against USF, and then going into the playoffs to the third round.
Yep, Joe Slevin, a key member of that squad. You're a freshman. Logan Emery was also on that team. Logan now an assistant coach of the Pilots. 2009 seems like just yesterday.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You had a great team there. Really, you had Colin Warner and Jared Van Schaik, two guys who bossed the midfield, really controlled the game and were forces in there, and it all came from that. We looked at them. They were kind of that North Star, but everybody knew their role. Even if you're coming in off the bench for 5 or 10 minutes, you knew that you were going to run hard. You were going to, try to make as much of a difference regardless of the amount of minutes you were playing. And I think you see that with this Pilot squad here as well.
That was Ingebretson that sent one across, but Portland is there to send it away. Quickly into attack mode. That's Michelle.
Good poise there by Michelle. He didn't push forward. He knew his kind of numbers weren't with him. He brought it back, found Gio. And again, these are the calming touches you need.
Vandervelde near touchline. This is Ortiz, a freshman for the Pilots. Sanchez couldn't quite catch up to that one. This is Reeves. Now Jeffrey Dunn, the senior, getting a start at center back tonight. A couple of huge goals for Dunn as well this season.
Yeah, he's not one to shy away from the moment, so I think that definitely played a factor in how this lineup played out. We saw Randa walking around in the boot, so an unfortunate injury there. The squad is...
What a ball there. This is Michelle.
And here's one here for the Pilots.
Tripped up. No, says the head referee, Drew Brooks.
I'm probably going to have to agree with the ref here. It looked like he was maybe going down a little early. Tried to drag that right foot, get the contact, knowing his touch was coming away from him.
Touch there by Ortiz to find Sanchez. Eddie Sanchez, we can't say enough positive things about him. His 4-year career on the Bluff. 3-time selection to the all WCC first team. That's impressive.
Yeah, and I think it speaks volumes, you know, 3 times to that WCC first team and what were really not great years for the program. And then starting this year off in somewhat of a rough patch and finding himself quickly. He quickly picked up where he left off and has really made an impact. Him and Michelle have had nothing but the best connection here for the WCC.
Quick restart by the Pilots. That's Coffee into the net. Goal, Portland! What a start by the Pilots as Coffee gives the home side the 1-0 lead.
That's how you want to kick off. 6 minutes into the game. It's surprising. You saw the Gales fall asleep there on this set play. Coffee did not. That chip ball through from Ortiz, absolutely perfect. And as a defender for the Gales, he's caught looking. He's either fouling, giving up the PK, or he gives off a bad angle shot. Coffee goes high, knowing the keeper's going low. Clinical finish. That's an experienced finish and a poised finish. Pilots are up 1-0. And you can see here, look at that. That challenge can't be made, knowing Coffee's going to use that body to either draw the foul.
Wow. Perfect placement. And this place is absolutely electric.
Not one single person on that Pilots bench which was sitting when that went down. They're into this. It's interesting. As fired up as you are in that moment, it almost settles your nerves, okay? You're in the driver's seat at this point. You have that win if you stick with this score line. The important part is you still got to push forward. You can't just try to not lose. You have to keep looking.
And Coffee would have been celebrating senior night tonight with his teammates, but he actually took a redshirt year. So Coffee, just a redshirt junior, we get him back for another year.
Yeah, and in all honesty, he probably would have been celebrating a little bit further down the field. He's been thrust in this position up top, sitting right below Sanchez and Michelle, and he's taken it full on. He did not back down. He saw the opportunity. If you're used to sitting down or you're sitting back where Reeves is right now, you're seeing that holding mid. You're really surprised to see him make this bursting run through 6 minutes into the game, and it pays off.
The assist will go to Ray Ortiz on the Coffee goal. Like he said, the Pilots just kind of caught the Gales off guard there. Portland looking for more, and Michelle. A shot deflected, right to the feet of Ortiz, sends it in. Another deflected ball. Wow. What a play by the keeper, Constantino.
And what are we talking about? That success, that free kicks comes from a 2v1 where you had to foul Michelle here on the wing. This next one is a ball whipped in from Ortiz because he has the time. So I talked about that 4-3-3. At the back, you are susceptible for those wings. If you keep the field wide the moment you get it, you know, coaches talk about it. On defense, you contract, you keep it tight, you make it hard to play through the middle. Once you get that ball, everybody spread out, get wide, open the game up so you can keep the ball, move people around, and tire out that defense.
And there you see on the screen as well, next to the score of this game, the Pacific Gonzaga score, still 1-0 Tigers, but at the moment that doesn't mean anything because Portland is leading right here at Merlo Field. There you see that deflected ball sent in by Ortiz. Constantino alertly knocks it away.
And Magana sniffing at that back post. You saw him not go for the goal there. You'd be curious. He was trying to redirect that back across the face of the net, see who else can run onto that.
We are in the 8th minute. Portland leading 1-0. It's Connor Johnston over there, left back. Throw in for the Gales. Last season, these two teams met down in Moraga. It was a 2-0 Gales win over the Pilots. Portland does claim the advantage in the all-time series, 25-12-4.
You got to be careful with these early goals. Make sure you again, pushing forward. Like we talked about, there's so many nerves, there's so much energy within the field. You got to keep pushing, you got to keep going forward. And we've got another chance here.
That's Coffee. Michelle. And a foul will go against the Pilots. Portland bench not necessarily agreeing with that call.
Sanchez got to keep his head about him. It looked like Sanchez was about to pull the trigger here. Michelle didn't mean to pass. But this right here,
yeah.
Absolute clear-cut PK for me. That's why Sanchez is so fired up.
But as it stands, it's a foul against the Pilots.
And again, that's that factor of pushing forward, really. Sanchez didn't stop his run, seeing Michelle going for that goal. if that goalie doesn't hold it, if it's bouncing off him, Sanchez is scooping up a good opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net.
Portland with tons of energy here in this first half. Looks like they've recovered from that double overtime match at altitude in Denver. Looking for Michelle. Constantino heads it away.
The Gales playing out here. That quick ball, Pilots didn't push up quite as high as they would have to trap the Gales back, and now they've got this opportunity. You saw kind of Coach Griffin, Coach Carleen Voigt telling their men to push forward. So even if you're not winning that first ball, that second ball that outlet to an outside back or another center back is still under pressure for them and not comfortable.
Ball sent back towards the halfway line, where it's controlled by the Gales. Chris Reeves.
We've seen some good team defense here. I don't think Ortiz necessarily would have been asked to come back, seeing that Vandervelde was there. A double happens. Entry ball is also pressured by Reeves, as well as Dunn, who's on his back. So not giving him that space, winning the ball. Now they got to keep possession, calm the nerves down. Let's see if they can get some flow and some control in this game, which they haven't struggled to do here at Merlot in the past couple of games.
Christensen kind of tripped there as he cleared that one.
Interesting take. He got the job done in the end. Looks like he didn't get his feet quite under him like he'd wanted to.
Well, goalkeepers aren't necessarily solid with their feet.
Right here, kind of that stutter step got him. Eating a little turf there, but he got the ball out.
There you see head referee Drew Brooks. I imagine this game will be as crucial as it is. It's going to be a physical contest. Matthew Coffey, the goal scorer. It's Doherty sending it forward.
It's interesting looking at this lineup when we were, pushing Coffey in that unnatural position for him right behind the forwards, asking a lot also of freshmen, and we saw the connection is what led to the goal. So from the start, Nick Carleen Voigt seems to have gotten it absolutely right. Jeff Dunn has not stepped a foot wrong at this point. Granted, 12 minutes in, but still encouraging signs for the start of the game.
Sanchez, a long throw into the center of the box. Still not out of trouble yet. Finally sent away by Ortiz.
And just a quick note here, Gonzaga has tied it up in Spokane. 1-1, so as we noted, again, Pilots winning, they're in the driver's seat, but still if Gonzaga ties, or if Pacific ties as well, it's even more favorable for those Pilots, though they still need to win, given that head-to-head battle.
It's championship Saturday in the West Coast Conference. 3 teams still alive in the hunt for the league title. This is Sanchez for the Gales. Vandervelde gets the cross off. Dunn, though, gets a foot on it.
The hope there up at that Gonzaga game is being 1-1. Maybe Gonzaga gets another, and then it's 2-1 at home up in Spokane. I don't think Pacific's weather's quite mimicking that of Spokane. So again, 1-1, new ball game up there. Ortiz doing a good job to draw the foul here. Catch your breath, get your feet under you, organize, get the instructions where you need them.
There is Ortiz to Michelle. Played back to the Gales keeper. And a great ball there by Constantino. Off of Johnson, thrown for the Gales.
Those touches got to be tight. They've got to be exact. This is a slick surface. A misjudgment on a pass, misweighted pass is punished more so than you would see on a drier day or on maybe a turf field. So Merlot is unforgiving as she is rewarding.
Some more contact there in the center circle, no call. Now the Gales will go to work. Looking for De La Tour. Instead, it's Lionel Mills. That's out for Portland. Goal kick.
Poised, controlled. Earns the goal kick, best case scenario there for the Pilots.
We haven't even talked about Mills yet tonight. What a solid season by the sophomore center back.
Yeah, and he's got the athleticism that it kind of puts some of those nerves at ease, knowing that he can recover, he can make those recovery runs, especially if he gets caught in the wrong position. We've also talked about how good the influence of Reeves has been on him in terms of that experience, somebody trying to instruct him, direct him. With Reeves pushing into that midfield, there's a little bit more put on Mills, but Jeff Dunn also has that experience. So it looks like they haven't missed a step with this quick change.
Knocked into the air. Ingebretson and Dunn fight for it. Falls to the feet of Mills. And Christensen. 15th minute, Pilots lead 1-0. Matthew Coffey, a goal in his 6th minute. Drew Brooks is pulling out the yellow. Will give it to Ortiz.
You know, I don't really agree with that. Ortiz looking to get his body under and win that ball. He's not going to go for the header because I don't think he's going to win it. He's using his body to get under and bring that ball down. You'll see here, he's looking, and that's where the ref saw the infringement. That's that. Maybe he didn't hear the whistle, but this is not something done out of anger. I think he was trying to catch that keeper off his line with a quick shot. So that's unfortunate to get a yellow there because now you're on that. That's something I wouldn't be surprised to see Jella come into play or Edwardson to give. You know, you got to get somebody in there who's not at risk of that red card.
Ingebretson catches up to that one. Plays it back. Feel it, dispossessed by Reeves. This is De La Torre.
Good positioning by Reeves to win that ball there.
Now Ortiz will go to work.
Great tackle there from Coffey. And
Looking
again,
for Sanchez.
This is where we like to see Sanchez. He can draw these fouls. Instead, he settles to get that corner, get people in the box. They've had success here. And with Dunn in the game, knowing what he's done, I don't think this is necessarily a very bad option for the Pilots. Not the biggest team, but those guys that are in there that win the headers have proven they can do it, you know, time and time again for this season.
First corner of the night will go to the Pilots. This is Sanchez. He'll whip one in.
You see Dunn hanging out there at the top of the box. Look to see if they can't run a screen to get his man off him, free him up in that first post.
He goes out for a goal kick.
Kind of an underwhelming delivery there. Coffey was sitting on the goalie. Told not to foul, but it just makes life difficult. I think they were trying to find that top of the 6-yard box because that's where Dunn's run was going.
So Matthew Coffey's goal so far is the difference. Coffey now with 3 goals on the year. Redshirt junior. Ortiz had the assist. That's assist number 3. This is Ingebretson, the leading goal scorer for the Gales. Into the box. De La Torre tries to get it back to Ingebretson, and this will be a corner kick for the Gales.
Yeah, Dunn playing better safe than sorry there. Now the Pilots got to organize. You can't fall asleep like the Gales did on that goal for Coffey. And St. Mary's, at least during my career, traditionally a team that was very good on set pieces. They practiced them a lot, and they also had the size that really made life difficult for those people marking them.
Doherty sends it in. Dangerous ball. And that'll be another corner for the Gales.
Sanchez got to be careful, keep those emotions calm. It shows he's caring about it. That's great. You want that passion, you want that fire, but you don't want him to get a needless yellow or even worse, a needless red and make this game even more difficult for his teammates.
18th minute, another corner for the Gales. Headed out by Coffey. St. Mary's looking to try to level the score here in the first half. Gonzaga and Pacific currently even 1-1 up in Spokane.
These long throws, they're just as difficult to deal with as that throw-in.
There's a collision foul against the Pilots.
The Pilots struggling a little bit to get out of their own half, out of their own defensive third even. Weather the storm, bend don't break. Let's see if they can catch the Gales all pushing forward, because they know they don't even just need a goal. They need 2 goals at this point to even give themselves a shot at that championship.
So free kick for the Gales just outside the 18. With Doherty and Sanchez are over there.
I think we talked about it before. The Gales hold that tiebreaker with Pacific, actually, whereas Pacific holds it with Portland. And that's where all these scenarios come out to play for this the title for the WCC.
Towards the top of the 6, that's sent away by the Pilots. Who's Michelle? Gales, though, regain possession, go back to work quickly, headed out by Dunn. Again, the Gales relentless in the attack right now.
Now you're seeing where that 4-3-3 pays off. Or sorry, that 3-4-3 pays off in that the amount of pressure you can get up there up top. I think Reeves is pretty lucky to escape another free kick there. Get the Pilots pushed up.
Look at that last set piece by the Gales.
Well done by Michelle, but Sanchez trying to curl that back post so that if nobody gets that touch, it just sneaks in on that far post, and it looked like that was in a very dangerous position. Christensen in a bit of a, do I go, do I not go scenario. It makes life difficult on that goalkeeper to come out for that ball or to sit home on his line.
Vanderbilt controls it for the Pilots. Looking up the near touch line. Instead of De La Torre sending it forward for Ingebretson. Tries to get around. It's out for a Gales throw. Look at a Portland throw.
And the ref seeing a little deflection there for Mills, who called for it. Job's not done. They still got to get out their own third here, but again, that defensive work is there. It's good to see everybody working for each other, trying to get back, create doubles where they can, and win that so they're not pumping balls in the box.
Top of the 18. Just out of reach for Ingebretson. Off the foot of Carmen. Portland 3 shots on the night, 1 corner. St. Mary's still looking for its first attempt, but they do have a pair of corner kicks. Paul Christensen, recently named the West Coast Conference Player of the Week a couple weeks ago after a pair of shutouts. This is done. Goes it back to the junior keeper.
Interesting to see those Pilots play out of the back, and they've done it, but kind of raises the hairs on the back of your neck when you see somebody who's in such a high-stakes game sticking with that type of game plan, but it's paid off, and now they've played their way up the field.
This is Vanderbilt. Now Ortiz. Over the head of Sanchez. Magana Rivera takes over. Takes the shot. Wow.
Great piece of skill there from Magana to get that ball down, get it back up, and then get a very good shot off. And again, you saw Sanchez sniffing there. Seems there's going to be a rebound, something he can put home. Great technique to keep that down.
Magana Rivera, another standout freshman for the Pilots. Near touchline to Sanchez. Finds the feet of Schwielich. He's tripped up.
And Coffey using a little bit of that holding mid experience there.
Constantino beats Michelle to the ball, and it's out for a Portland throw.
I think Coffey knows he wants to cut in on that right. He's waiting for him, but he has the jump actually there, and he wins the ball before it becomes anything too dangerous. Good to see that senior stepping up, reading the play correctly, and clearing the danger. It's a great one for people learning the game to recognize, why you're giving him so much space. you know, I think he's trying to almost bait him into that movement. He knows that touch is coming right. The moment he puts that shoulder down, then you're jumping that route. You're trying to win the ball, and he did.
It's a goal kick for the Gales. St. Mary's has won 3 straight games to remain alive in the hunt for the WCC title. But right now, they need to come all the way back and then some from this 1-0 deficit. The only chance the Gales have at the league crown is defeating the Pilots.
And a Pacific loss.
A Pacific loss.
Still remains 1-1 up there. They obviously don't know that. They might know that come halftime.
6 o'clock start up there in Spokane.
You know, talking to their staff, though, it's a very clear message. You have to win to even give yourself a chance. So not that that's really locker room stuff or something to get the guys riled up, but if anything, if you tell them that, it might be something that's disheartening, right? You know, oh man, it's tied up there, we're down. You kind of start, your shoulders start to slump. So I'd be interested to see how they handle that situation given how that game ends. Of course, there's still double OT if this scoreline remains, and Pilots more than most can tell you how that overtime can really come back and bite you.
So the Gales have done well here in possession since that Portland goal. They withstood some early pressure. Now St. Mary's searching for the equalizer.
And I think that 1-0 scoreline it's influencing. You know you've got that win if things remain the way they are. So your defensive work rate is there. You're working for each other. You're working back. But that does mean when you get that outlet up top, it might be Benji Michel and Eddie Sanchez, kind of 2v4.
Michel. His run momentarily halted. Sanchez, center of the box, all the way through. Coffee tripped up.
Sanchez looking for Ortiz. Unfortunately, that didn't come off there.
Schwielik not on the same page with the teammate. Portland with possession briefly.
And that's where that calming presence needs to come into play. Here, he's trying to play this hero ball, perfect ball through to Benji Michel. Maybe Sanchez doesn't need to make his run, pull off, get the ball down. We know how good he is at running at people.
Taking a tumble there was a Gale. Eddie Sanchez called for the foul. He can't believe it.
You see a similar approach between Ortiz and Sanchez. And I'll be honest, I do this myself. I know at my height, at my stature, I'm not going to go up and challenge for this ball in the air. I'm either going to try to draw that foul or get my body in a position where that ball is going to fall. And that's just what Sanchez is trying to do, what Ortiz is trying to do. And in this case is judged as an infringement. But just as many times you'll see the actual defender called for climbing over the back there.
Yeah, that was Doherty that was a little slow to get up. Long ball all the way into the area. Paul Christensen, and that'll be a foul or offside. Actually, the flag is up.
You saw St. Mary's forward. He wasn't even looking at the ball. He's just putting a shoulder into Christensen there. That's where that temper comes from.
And there you see Christensen's teammates coming to his defense. And Coffey, one of the team captains for the Pilots. Speaking of Drew Brooks, not an easy job for Drew Brooks, the head referee tonight.
It's guaranteed almost every time to be a testy affair. And especially at this point, when somebody's really not even looking at the ball, to go up and put that shoulder into Christensen, who again, as we noted, is susceptible. He's got his eyes on the ball. We've got a replay here. You look at the eyes, just goalie, and he's jumping right in.
Yeah, absolutely. Play resumes.
And that might be the last time you see the Pilots try to play out of the back.
Michel couldn't quite control it. Mills gets ahead on that one. Gagne Rivera can't find Michel. Game's first sub will be for the Gales, number 9, Joseph Rastani. Rastani also with 4 goals this year. That's tied for the team high.
Pretty eager to get out there.
Rastani, a freshman out of Oak Grove, California. Some decent freshmen on the St. Mary's roster as well.
It's interesting to see that consistency of third place last year and third sitting this year. So things to look forward to the future for this program just as much as the pilots.
In good hands with Adam Cooper at the helm. He's been there for 10+ years.
Moraga's a unique place to go. You kind of almost go through the forest to get there, and you pop up in this random field. And it's difficult. You're usually on the back end of away matches, so it's usually kind of a heat pit almost when you're in California. You're not used to it. To catch you off guard, it's a tough place to go and win.
They've made some improvements to the facility here in the past couple of years. Nice setting there for collegiate soccer.
That's good to hear. I didn't want to say anything, but that's good to hear that they've taken a little bit of an improvement approach.
I think that's Engelbretson trying to send one in. It's knocked out. Corner kick for the Gales. So the Gales not letting up here, down 1-0.
If anything, since that goal, have really controlled the tempo of this game. Pilots maybe asked one or two questions. I think they're pretty unfortunate to not get a penalty kick when Sanchez went down.
Paul Christensen is there.
And you're seeing that testy behavior happen again.
That's the newest Gale on the field. Rastani
did not take him long to get adjusted to the tempo where the field is getting
in there.
We talked about it before, in earlier broadcasts. Sanchez's style of play definitely gets under your skin. He looks for context, he looks for confrontation. He's not going to back down either. But when you have that moment, you lash out, it almost just looks like a manic moment where you are caught off guard, and that's where you kind of find yourself in a very bad position.
A couple of more players get tangled. It's Ortiz and Rafael Sanchez.
And in that case, Ortiz establishes himself, and he wins that free kick. So as we kind of talked about, that 50-50 approach to that, not going up for a header and rather just getting into position before the ball gets there.
Right back to Mills. Find his keeper. This is Ortiz looking for Sanchez. Right of the 18. Sends it in. Nobody there on that far post.
Magana pulled out thinking that ball was coming back. I think Sanchez was thinking he was going to be sniffing back post.
Sanchez all the way on the other side. That Magana Rivera and Connor Johnston over there. The foul will go against the Gales, so a chance for Sanchez to send one into the area.
I think objectively, Sanchez is by far the best striker of the ball. Not only from the set piece, but the speed with which he can get an extremely powerful shot off is actually incredible to see in person. This is going to be a similar ball to what you saw Sanchez do and trying to get that so it floats in that back post if nobody touches.
Bounces all the way through and just wide of that right post.
And just as we talked about it, it almost came off. That's how you write it up, and that's why you put it there. The slightest touch would have put this into the back of the net.
During that 1-0 loss at Pacific on Sunday, Sanchez hit the post on a rebound from a shot from Michelle, and it was almost a surprise that Sanchez didn't finish because he's almost automatic with goals like that, but hit that right post and Pacific would hold on for the 1-0 win.
Now the Pilots doing this pushing. St. Mary's was having success because those front three were pushing the defense of the Pilot, asking questions, and Pilots are doing the same exact thing here, and now you see sort of panicked clearance from St. Mary's.
Throw-in for the Pilots near the Village Drum Squad at the absolutely packed student section.
They have not stopped singing since the start of this game.
No doubt the best fans in the country. Up in Spokane, they're in the 81st minute, still tied 1-1. Sanchez, little flick to Coffee. Now Johnston. Out wide, Magana Rivera. Looking for Sanchez. Magana Rivera! Wide of that right post.
Well done by Sanchez to let that play build up. He's looking at that window, Once the step is there, unfortunate not to get a clearer shot on target, because that's a well-built play.
New player for the Gales is number 11, Michael Dingle, junior out of Alpine, California.
You see him stepping in on the left mid, pushing Sanchez in the midfield. They want to get their captain on the ball is what it looks like. He's had success down here at the left side to some degree. I think they just want to get him even more involved in this game.
Sanchez battling for possession. Ends up on the turf. Now the Gales. Some contact and the whistle does go against the Pilots. Not very much, but just enough.
I think Reeves got a little bit of a touch on a Gale running forward there. I think a latent effect that you're seeing of Sanchez's style of play is over 4 years, these referees have learned that he's almost looking for that contact. So they're not blowing the whistle necessarily as much as you would see if a Riviera or if a Magana or an Ortiz were in that situation.
So another free kick for the Gales in somewhat of a dangerous area. They've had a handful of these so far in the first half.
This is a tough one if you're going to try to put it on target, so maybe a floating at back post, but
Sanchez does just that. Not out of trouble yet, finally sent away by the Pilots. Another look. Vanderbilt not taking any chances and just sends it away.
Yeah, you kind of clinch up for a second there. Eventually the clearance comes and pretty well upfield actually.
We are in the 36th minute at Merlo Field. Matthew Coffey scoring way back in the 6th minute. Gales have been trying to equalize since. Portland has been forced to defend a little bit here since scoring that goal.
You can hear how loud these fans are on this broadcast. They're not stopping. As much as they're here to view this game, I think they're just fully aware of the weight of this game and the weight of this moment, and how important it is to get out of this first half in the lead.
One of my favorite cheers here at Merlo Field, the Go Pilots chant.
It's a complex one. I think after 4 years I got it down.
Sanchez dispossessed, but it rolls out, throwing to the Pilots. Portland will make its first sub. It's number 11, Jackson Jella, sophomore out of Phoenix. And this is what Portland can do with its depth, provide this kind of firepower coming off the bench.
And we talked about Ortiz coming off. He's on that yellow card.
Ray Ortiz also had the assist on the Coffey goal.
Yeah, and that's what you've seen him look to do these first 35 minutes is the little ball behind. He's putting loft on a little backspin so it holds up. Expect Joe to maybe run at people more to look to get him behind this Gales defense, because I think they've seen something. They've seen the success that they've had and where that's coming from.
Jella does have 3 goals and 3 assists, but he's dispossessed there. Snoddy. Nice move. Takes the shot, but it took a deflection, and that'll be a corner. Paul Christensen just let that one go out, thinking it'd be a goal kick.
Yeah, I think they're saying it deflected off Reeves. I think it may have been the player that just carried through and kind of caught a part of Reeves.
Huh.
Anytime you see a deflection, you're going to probably see a good amount of spin on that ball. Christensen just lets it go. That ball looks like it had almost 0 to no spin.
So 4th corner for the Gales.
And referee stopping time. Keep your eyes on this goal line. It's no secret what St. Mary's is trying to do. They've got 4 guys there bowling around. They're making life difficult, and they're trying to put that ball right on Christensen. Except with all this movement and all these players around him, he's not able to get out comfortably.
Sanchez sends it in, and it's cleared by Coffey. Right back in by the Gales. I think that's Rastani. Shot. Christensen is there.
I don't know how I feel about Lionel Mills. He had that chance. You want to get wide, you want to get it up. He put it right back in the middle there, and I don't think anybody was expecting that. Sanchez as well, looking to win the ball and start a counterattack as opposed to win the ball and then see where you're at.
Third shot of the game for St. Mary's. And the first save for Christensen. Still 1-1 up in Spokane. Pacific and Gonzaga, 85th minute. But that game at the moment doesn't really matter since Portland is leading. I know a lot of games left to be played, but the Pilots in a decent position right now.
Yeah, this is where you might start to see subs. I think Dixon's starting to get ready here. Maybe for a Magana, maybe to give Michelle a breather. It's been a long season. It wears down on you. Your legs feel heavy, and where you might feel you're 100%, you're 100% in that moment, not necessarily to where you were at the start of the year when you had your first 10 goals.
It has been a long season and not an ideal schedule for the Pilots this year. A lot of lengthy road trips, time spent away from Merlo Field. A trip to Denver late in the conference schedule, and you're battling for a league title.
And they've really made Merlo Field somewhat of a fortress here when they've been at home. But that also being said, it's a very big field, and it takes a lot of energy to cover the ground, to do the work.
Pilots 6-1 at the friendly confines this season. They lost coming all the way back in the season opener, August 26th, Wright State. With foul against the Pilots.
A little bit of a cheeky play there from Sanchez. He knew he was off. Michelle wasn't. He kept that run going. And I don't know if Sanchez meant to or didn't, but he ended up tripping that center back who's backpedaling to get that clearance.
And Joe, you look back at that season opening loss to Wright State. How has this team changed since then? How have the Pilots changed?
It's interesting. You saw that, and on the tail of last season, your head almost goes down. You go, okay, here we go again. This is going to be rough. They came out of there with a very convincing victory, but that Wright State one, I think Coach Voigt did a great job of looking at the fact it's the start of the season. People are still learning this absolutely new system, these new freshmen, and they came out of it and haven't really looked back since.
Gales with possession deep in Portland territory, and that'll be a goal kick for the Pilots. Here comes Malcolm Dixon. Dixon, the sophomore transfer out of Virginia.
19. Come on, 19, come on.
Has played a handful of positions for the Pilots this season. He's played in the midfield, he's played up top, he's also played in the back line.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we talked about again. Benji Michelle, you get him in, get him a little bit rested. Maybe they're seeing something, but it's pushing Sanchez and Jella a little bit higher, and Dixon's going to hang out here on this wing. And I think what's encouraging is, Jella started that season so well. What did he have? 3 assists, 2 goals.
He played a part in the first 5 goals of the season for the Pilots.
Yeah, and that was that success, but Sanchez started to get up and running. Then Michelle off of those, obviously, those two in their symbiotic relationship.
Yep.
Magana Rivera and all those guys starting to find those roles. It was nice to see the evolution of this team and how it came together.
Yeah, there were a lot of new pieces that Portland had to work into the fold. There's the shot, Cosentino, big time save there. That was Dixon immediately letting his presence be known.
Great job. He not shying away from the fact he checked in. He knew what he was doing. He was running at somebody. That's why he's in there.
Ganya Rivera, another dangerous bouncing ball through the box.
And I think you saw Sanchez falling up, but I would have liked to have seen here Magana Rivera maybe also taking that chance, because this ball squirts out right where he probably would have been, and in the end he's hanging out here on the left. I'm not necessarily sure why. Just a general rule of thumb, I think we saw Dixon wind up, and the moment that happened, you're making that run happen.
Thomas Peterson, the senior, will replace Eddie Sanchez, fellow senior. Peterson, originally from Honolulu, Hawaii, went to high school though here in the Portland area.
Yeah, and I actually ended up coaching Peterson for a little bit when I was, back in my college days, doing a little coaching on the side. And he's that big guy with the good feet. He doesn't necessarily have that physical presence that you'd expect for somebody that size, but he is good on the ball.
Shot from distance, blocked early by Dixon.
It's interesting, Dixon turned his back. I think if the left back had a little bit more presence of mind, he could have just calmed down on that ball.
And a foul well behind the play.
Late challenge coming in.
As Coffee is a little slow to get up. 44th minute. They've actually reached 90 minutes up in Spokane, so Gonzaga and Pacific will be heading to overtime tied 1-1. Gonzaga giving Pacific all they can handle right now in a crucial game.
And that tie would bring a 15 points to Pacific, correct? So I'm trying to work this out.
No, Pacific currently has 13 points, so if that does end in a tie, Pacific would have 14.
And the Pilots would have...
Pilots currently with 15 points. Still pretty much a win or a tie. Actually, let's just win. Pilots need to win this one. We don't have to worry about scenarios. Final minute of the first half. Stick around for halftime. We'll have a live interview with Portland Athletic Director Scott Lakin. Lots to talk about during this successful fall season on the Bluff.
Yeah, you've seen a resurgence. You've seen a good start for that new Terry Porter Portland Pilots basketball season. You've also seen both men's and women's cross country making it to nationals, and on the women's side, the first time in program history. So interesting. It's been a couple of years with him at the helm, and you're starting to see that work come to life.
Not to mention volleyball picking up perhaps the biggest win in program history at number 7 San Diego on the road Thursday night. So an interview with Scott Lakin coming up as we reach halftime at Merlo Field. Portland controlled its own destiny, and they're sitting pretty right now with the 1-0 lead over the Gales. We will be right back. Back live at Merlo Field with the Pilots currently lead the St. Mary's Gale 1-0 in half. Portland Athletic Director Scott Lakin joining us now in the booth. And Scott, you have to like what you've seen so far from the Pilots.
So far, so good. In this business, you want a chance to build excitement on campus and win championships, and we got a little bit of both tonight.
Excitement on campus. It's been excitement for all of the fall sports teams so far. Volleyball, both cross countries. Just talk about some of that success that the Pilots have experienced across the board.
Adam, this is a funny business. You know, the losses come in spurts, and right now it's great the winning is coming in spurts. But great for Rob Connor to have an outstanding regional yesterday and beat Oregon and get to NCAAs. Our women's cross country team has made it to NCAAs for the first time ever. Volleyball, 4th place, beating San Diego, BYU, Oregon State, Mississippi State, and you know, then what's happening behind us. It's been a good fall.
And looking also at that basketball program under Terry Porter, yes, it's a new start, it's a new beginning, but how nice is it to get that first win under your belt?
Huge win last night. I mean, we have a very special player in Alec Wintering, and the buzz in Childs was palpable last night, and it was fun to get that win, and now we move on to the next one.
Yeah, men's basketball will be back at home next Friday against Lewis and Clark, so come out and watch the Pilots, who picked up the win last night. And going back to men's soccer, talk about the job that Coach Nick Carlin-Voigt has done this year with this team.
Hey, Adam, Nick has done 2 things incredibly well. One, he has those returners believing in themselves. You look at Matt Coffey, who scored the goal, Eddie Sanchez, who's had the best year of his career, Paul Christensen, who's standing on his head in the goal. I mean, we have returners who are having excellent years. And then you bring in an outstanding holding defender in Chris Reeves and a goal scorer in Benji Michelle, and that's a pretty good combo.
And what a perfect night tonight. I mean, it all comes down to the final night of the season. You still have 3 teams in contention for the West Coast Conference. Just talk about the night tonight and the electricity in the building.
Well, the student crowd is unbelievable. I mean, the electricity there, and you could tell the guys really fed off that the first 10 minutes, and that's why we're in the lead right now. But it's, you know, that's a 7-game regular season. That creates 2-way ties or 3-way ties, and that creates an exciting final weekend. I'm glad we're at home tonight and not in Moraga.
And knowing that this was the first season under Coach Carlin-Voigt, I don't think anybody really expected this amount of success. What was your message to him at the start of the season under his new helm?
I shouldn't say this, but our expectation this year, we would have been thrilled with 6 or 7 wins. When you look on the board and what the schedule looked like, and it wasn't a friendly schedule from a travel perspective at all, we would have been pleased with the 6 or 7 wins. I would say we're very happy with where we are right now.
And we have some watch parties coming up here on the Bluff next Saturday. Saturday morning, early wake-up call for the NCAA cross-country national championships, 8 a.m. I think the women's race is next Saturday. So how special of a morning will that be for UP Athletics?
So excited for Ian Soloff. Ian has been here a long time and has been the heart and soul of the women's program. And I think Rob Connor would also tell you he's been a big part of the men's program as well. So to have Ian have that opportunity, and I think our men are peaking at the right time. That regional race was by far their best of the year yesterday, and we'll see what they have next Saturday.
Yeah, and the women making their first appearance at nationals as a team in program history. So, like we said, unprecedented success here on the Bluff this fall season. And quickly, what do you think the Pilots have to do to hold on and get this win here tonight?
Let's score a couple more.
I would like
There's no holding on. Let's keep scoring.
Absolutely. Portland Athletic Director Scott Lakin, thanks for joining us here tonight. And go
Thanks,
Pilots.
guys. Thank you.
All right, another quick break on CSN, but when we come back, we'll have thoughts in the first half. Welcome back to Merlo Field. I am Adam Lemon, joined by Joe Slevin, and the Portland Pilots currently leading the St. Mary's Gales 1-0, and that coffee goal coming back in the 6th minute. How crucial was that for the Pilots to jump ahead early?
You know, for the Pilots, that's the ideal scenario. Start the game off with a goal, calm those nerves down. What you did see, though, is the Gales, it almost woke them up. They were, okay, this is absolutely a game now. You were looking for that goal. It came early, and now they're on the front foot. And the Pilots did a good job really holding back that pressure and tiding that storm.
So Pilots up 1-0. Talk about what they need to do here in the second half to maintain that lead and maybe build on it.
Yeah, and I don't think they necessarily were doing anything incorrectly. They got caught on a certain amount of bounces that didn't quite go their way. They got to keep that energy up. They got to keep pressing high up that field, and their success has come from those wings. That 3-4-3 for the Gales has left them susceptible at those back 2 corners.
And let's take a look at the first half highlights. It came in the 6th minute, and it was on a free kick. Portland went quickly. Ortiz finds Coffey, and Coffey does the rest. What a finish.
Yeah, way to get his body in there, make it difficult for the defender to handle. He can't foul. He's giving up that PK, so it's on the goalie. Goalie goes low. Coffey goes high.
Tough angle for the redshirt junior Matthew Coffey, but he finishes into the top shelf to hand the home side the early 1-0 lead.
A poised finish for a holding mid.
Portland, though, with some chances later on in the half. First was Ortiz, deflected, dangerous ball, but there's Constantino.
Yeah, they don't ask how, they ask how many, so I think he would have taken that if that ended up in the back of the net. A great save by the Gales goalie, and a great ball that probably would have ended up had nobody touched it still.
And then Malcolm Dixon, he had just come into the game, and here he is, nearly giving the Pilots a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, we wish somebody was kind of sniffing there, but Dixon coming in, making an immediate impact, even in a short amount of workspace for him.
All righty, second half is only moments away, but first a quick break on CSN.
Tonight's game is brought to you by U.S. Bank, all of us serving you. Les Schwab Tire Centers with the best tire value promise. Safeway Stores, ingredients for life. Coca-Cola, open happiness. Bimart, we own it and it shows. The W.TV, anytime, anywhere. And Nike, just do it.
Welcome back to Merlo Field on the campus of the University of Portland. It's Championship Saturday, and the Pilots currently sitting in a good position leading the St. Mary's Gales 1-0. And let's talk about the different scenarios here tonight as we keep an eye on that Pacific game up against Gonzaga, where they're tied 1-1, just reached the end of the first OT. But right now, Portland is in control of its own destiny. If they win, they are the West Coast Conference champions. Now, Portland can also tie and still get in if Pacific loses. But if Portland ties and Pacific wins, Pacific would then tie the Pilots for the co-conference championship. But Pacific, since they own the tiebreaker over the Pilots, they would get the automatic berth into the NCAA playoffs. And should the Gales rally and come back to defeat the Pilots here tonight, and Pacific loses, the Gales are the co-champions with the Pilots, and St. Mary's would get the tiebreaker over Portland and get the league's automatic bid into the NCAA playoffs. So, Joe, a couple of different things could happen tonight, but if the results hold right now, Portland would win their first league title since 2002 and go back to the playoffs for the first time since 2009.
I would imagine that locker room was pretty hyped up coming out of, or will be hyped up coming out of there. They know what's on the line, and they know the position they're in even more so. They've done the work to get there. Now it's 45 minutes to gut check time to make sure you can close this out and win the first WCC championship since 2002.
Let's take a look at those first half stats. The Pilots outshot the Gales 7-4. 3 shots on goal for the Pilots, who lead 1-0. Corner kicks, St. Mary's earned 4 of them during the first 45 minutes. Portland had 1 corner kick. Constantino had 3 saves. Christensen just 1 save. Christensen wasn't really challenged there during the first half, even though the Gales did have a handful of opportunities to try to level this game. And then fouls, 7 against the Pilots and 5 against the Gales. So, Joe, second half, let's talk about what is Portland's mentality here with the 1-0 lead. Do you try to build that lead, or are you happy and try to maintain the 1-goal lead?
I think you got to try to build that lead. You're going to win you're trying to win the game. And the worst thing you can do is try to not lose, basically. Just sit back and invite pressure. That's when it gets difficult, and it's extremely difficult to hang on for 45 minutes. And a quick look at those stats, that's where Christensen has been great this season. Maybe not asked the most of him throughout the game, but in those 1 or 2 moments, those key moments, he's come up huge for the Pilots. And that 7-5 stat line in terms of fouls, 12 fouls in the first half. Or the flow hasn't quite been there for the entire game. It's a chippy one, and I expect it to get even chippier.
And how do you like head coach Nick Carlin-Voigt out there warming up the fellas before the second half? I mean, he's done it all this fall, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I'm almost thinking that in some ways there's so many nerves within this stadium right now. People are looking for ways to almost distract themselves or do something because there's so much energy, so much nervous energy here for these next 45 minutes. I don't know if we've ever seen him do that at the beginning of a second half.
All right, it all comes down to these next 45 minutes. The Pilots leading the Gales 1-0. Pacific still even with Gonzaga up in Spokane.
And taking a look at that field, the Gales are sticking with that 4-3-3, or sorry, that 3-4-3. Being offensive, we know they have to. I'm interested to see where the Pilots have come as in terms of Jella has stayed off, Dixon has come back on, or stayed on, and I think Edwardson's out there on the wing. Benji is back on.
And again, that Pacific game up at Gonzaga where they are tied. A tie does not do Pacific any good. It would give them 14 points, but they need to do more than that. All right, second half underway between the Pilots and Gales.
Pilots give up possession here. Normally the thought there is let's put them in their half, maybe knock it out of bounds. It didn't really come off there, and though you have this kick at the start of the half, you've already given up possession, and we're back in the flow of the game.
The Gales will be desperate, searching for not only the equalizing goal, but they'll need a go-ahead goal as well if they want to have any chance of winning the WCC.
It's a tough hill to climb for sure. It'll be interesting to also. We talked about, do you go in talking about, yeah, it's 1-1 up in Gonzaga, you guys, it's a heads up, you guys needed to win, or do you just keep this game at hand? I wouldn't be surprised if these Pilots players know what the scenario up in Spokane is at the moment.
Flag is up, offside is the call against the Gales. You're seeing things slip. I don't see Edwardson out there.
No, what I was seeing was Johnston really pushing high on that left wing, and you saw that ball go to that left corner, or that right corner. I'm curious as to what the instructions were at that kickoff.
Here come the Gales. Deep in Portland territory, low cross. And then finally cleared by Vandervelde.
And he's not at center back, but Reeves making a pretty crucial interaction there to dispossess the Gales player.
Brutal sends it wide for the Gales, gets it back.
And you see Coffey also sitting back there with Reeves. They're cutting off those lanes to those forwards, so that ball's not able to go on their feet. They're forcing it wide, basically making the Gales try to pump this ball in from the sides as opposed to playing through the middle.
towards the end line. Into the center of the box. Couldn't quite get a clean shot off. Right back in, though. Took a deflection. Goal kick for the Pilots.
And an iffy one there. You saw Jeffrey Dunn coming from that center back position. That ball comes behind, and you see it was in no man's land for some Pilots. Dangerous ball here.
That was Rastani there, nearly equaling the score.
You know, just as easy as he missed that, he could have connected and scored. He could have connected and hit a hand. So, nervy moment there for the Pilots at the start of this half.
48th minute. Pilots on top, 1-0. Collision. And foul does go against the Gales.
And you're seeing some nasty hits there. I think the Gales player knew he was going to win this ball, but there's also just a little bit of extra in this. You know,
Doherty.
And he's protecting himself, but I don't think he's too upset that he earned a foul there.
Yeah, Coffey's had to pick himself up off the grass a couple of times tonight. Appears to be okay, tries to walk it off. This is Mills. Looking for Coffey. Reeves, another foul will go against the Gales.
And it's not a bad foul, but again, it's a persistent infringement that you oftentimes see a yellow card taken out for that. And I think that's exactly what Coffey's looking for. When you receive that ball, you're back to goal. You're not going to try anything too crazy. You know the contact is coming. So again, doing his job there, but it's not the most enviable position when you're basically sitting there knowing, yeah, I'm going to get fouled pretty hard.
Coffey, the redshirt junior out of Sandy, Utah.
And really, other than Sanchez, and you can say Jella to some extent, Christensen, that older regime, like kind of those older guys before Nick Carling-Voigt's era, still staying in this lineup. For the most part, there's a lot of Nick Carling-Voigt seeping its way into the starting 11.
Bodies down across the field, and now Portland is called for the foul. Vanderbilt pleading his case. Not a whole lot of contact, but then some little something after the play there from Sanchez.
I think that's the name of the game here, is just that extracurricular activity. It's malicious for sure. You can't really be sent off for it. And oftentimes it goes unseen by the officiating crew.
Balancing ball makes it all the way through into the arms of Christensen. Paul Christensen, what a steady presence in goal for the Pilots in his 3 years so far.
Can't tell you how nice it is when you have that keeper back there that you trust, you know he's going to make those big saves and organize his troops.
What a move. Another nice move. Bodies down, Sanchez down again. Goal kick for the Gales.
And again, I think if that's not Sanchez, you're getting that call. He's looking for the contact. Yes, was it embellished? Just because it's embellished doesn't mean it wasn't a foul.
Look at Malcolm Dixon.
Not getting that window of space. He wants to get that shot off. Not a foul here. I think St. Mary's wants a foul. And referee, you know, almost you're calling it a player's ref, letting the contact happen. I think it's going to take a lot for him to pull that whistle out, especially on that 18-yard box.
This will be a throw-in for the Pilots.
But that's the second time I've seen Sanchez go down under what you could say is justifiably a PK. St. Mary's has got to be careful. He's so savvy with his body and how he gets it in a way that he very well could end up earning a PK for the Pilots in the second half.
That's Sanchez for the Gales. Top of the box. Rastani can't escape the handful of Portland defenders, but Gales go right back on the attack. What a tackle there by Vanderbilt. Good throw in for the Gales.
Vanderbilt doing a great job.
Moment to go. This was the contact in the 18.
Again, you could definitely make the argument Sanchez was a push in the back to win it. It didn't get called, so plays live, and at that point, that's a PK for Sanchez.
105th minute in Spokane, still tied Pacific and Gonzaga. Should that game go final, Pacific would only have 14 points, Portland with 15. That would mean Portland could win or tie against the Gales and clinch the WCC title.
You know, it's almost that baseball where somebody has that perfect game, but nobody's talking about it. I think everybody in that locker room was probably wanted to say, hey, what's the score of that game? Probably not talking about that.
It is nice to have meaningful games on the Bluff, though, this season for the men's soccer team. A wonderful job done by first-year head coach Nick Carlin-Voigt, immediately bringing this team from near the bottom last season to the top of the table. No problem there from Christensen.
Yeah, comfortable save in the end. Then again, the shuffle of the feet definitely caused some worries on that clearance in the first half.
Yeah, that one didn't make the highlight package, did it?
It didn't. Blooper reel at the end of the game.
Gales not letting up. Flick there from Vanderveld. Reeves goes down again. Bodies all over the place. Portland comes away with possession.
Yeah, you might see a pretty hard foul coming in. It's building up. That tension's there. It's almost at this tipping point. And those are the ones where there's really no foul. There's a lot of challenges going in. People are getting hit, but there's no stoppage in play. And that's where somebody just gets frustrated and lashes out. It's always an interesting one as a player. I enjoyed those because you could almost see it building up, and if you were the one who was, you know, in a position to maybe draw that foul, you could really kind of have a message sent through or ask some questions of the officiate of the ref. A lot of people ending up on the turf right now.
We call it turf. It is natural grass here at Merla Field. Joe, what do you think about the condition of this field after an entire, not only a men's soccer season, but a women's soccer season as well? Then you throw in T2, Portland's minor league team, and the field has held up pretty well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't look any worse for the wear. You know, shout out to the groundskeepers for keeping this an absolutely pristine surface. Because it's slick, because it definitely sinks in being a natural surface, a lot of these guys are wearing those studs, and that might be also what's causing all those slips or people on the ground. Really nobody having control too much of the game right now.
Now this is Rudolph for the Gales. Squares it to Sanchez. One touch looking for Schwielik. It's out for a Portland throw.
It's interesting for the Gales. You take a look here, they're definitely aware and alive to that danger Michelle poses, but they're also trying to get that win. So on the offense, for a second there, you saw an almost non-existent midfield for them. A great opportunity here. Dixon 1v1. He has the pace, he has the space.
Again, no whistle there from Drew Brooks.
Again, embellished. I don't know if it's necessarily free of a foul. The touch from Dixon got away from him there at the crucial moment. And that's kind of that difference in that level when you see those elite strikers. There's no mistake, no missteps there. Dixon, unfortunate that that touch slipped away from him because he was in a good spot.
Gagne Rivera working his way across the field. Ball is denied, but it's out for a corner kick for the Violets.
Well done by Rivera. He's not a natural lefty, but being on that left side, he's allowed to float in on the right foot for this exact purpose of getting a good shot on goal in the center of the field.
So second corner for Portland. Sanchez will send it in. Set piece opportunity for the home side.
He may be in midfield tonight, but Reeves is back, organizing his troops. As much as you want to get that second goal, you don't want to get caught on the counter.
Center of the box, under the feet of Dixon. Michelle shut the ground. That'll earn a whistle for Drew Brooks.
St. Mary's will be pretty upset. They felt it was a shoulder-to-shoulder. Michelle might have just had the jump there in terms of getting his body in front. You see the replay right here. It's a battle for position at this point. Yeah, he definitely gets his body in, and he's looking for that contact, take that hit.
So another set-piece opportunity for the Pilots. That game is final up in Spokane. Pacific ties with Gonzaga. And that changes things a little bit.
You get somewhat of a breathing, you know, when it's 1-1, but that 1-1 then means you're going the extra 20 minutes in this game, which is even more nervy time. Golden goal for the College Springs.
Center of the box, loose. Sent out. Portland maintains possession. Put it back to Vanderveld, sends it in, hit it out. Cleared by the Gales. Looking for a counter.
This is that
Reeves
counter.
is there.
Reeves does a great job. You need to keep it, you need to get it out. And actually, if anything, St. Mary's wanted to push forward, but they're making their own sub right now.
Slevin, huge crowd on hand tonight. 4,372 is the attendance. That includes 1,900 students. So the Pilot faithful has come out tonight, and thank you for everybody showing their support of Portland as they go after the league title.
And you touched on it. There's a different feel about it. There's a different sense of anticipation and excitement around the campus, in the stadium, on the field. It's nice to see that come to life, because this is something you might typically see at the beginning of a season. You know, it's performance. It's very performance dependent. There's also kind of a weather factor. We have a great night here for soccer, so even more stars coming into alignment. It's great to see, and right now, ideal for the Pilots.
Werner plays it up the near touchline, sent along by Dingle. There's Mills, keeps it in. Now throw coming up for the Gales.
And that long throw they know that they have with Sanchez, I think they were thinking that Mills got it off that forward, but Mills didn't seem to give any protest.
That right post, Christensen.
Not taking any, you know, gambles this time in terms of did that deflect off somebody.
Gagne Rivera. He's thinking Sanchez might be making a run near touchline. Instead, Constantino will play it for the Gales. Turning is Shielik, now sends it out wide. The 18.
Reeves getting his body in the way. You know, back during my sophomore, junior year, one of the biggest things that they harped on was just kind of this block shots mentality of, if he's floating inside, then that midfield or whoever it is pulls off and gets in the way, but don't let them get those clean looks off on, you know, on Christensen, on net. Given that it may not go in, but again, they're looking for that deflection. It's a slick surface, it can skip, so many things can happen before that ball even gets to the goalie.
We mentioned Joe Slevin, an alum of this Portland men's soccer program. You were on that last playoff team in 2009. As an alum, how does it make you feel to see Carlin Voigt come in and turn this program around?
I think I'm with everybody in that I didn't expect it to happen this quick, and it's very nice. They seem to have bought into his system and what everybody's role is, and that's what you saw on our squad over in 2009. As a freshman, I wasn't even playing, and then when it came to the time to step up, it was almost 5 minutes here, 6 minutes here, but even then, people were doing their job. They knew it was going to be asked of them.
That's Dingle, now plays it back. Ball sent in, headed out. Portland wants a call, nothing doing. Another ball sent into the area. Gales Relentless in their attack at the moment. Turning, shooting, Christensen knocks it over the bar.
It goes over the bar. I'm actually thinking that Christensen, while he couldn't have grabbed this, it did look like a comfortable save there in the end. That being said, he got that shot off clean, so not getting in front there, and you can see the danger that it poses because now there's a corner and something else to deal with, and they're taking the same approach. You see 2 Gales, 3 Gales right around Christensen, making life difficult.
Doherty will send it in for the Gales. A lot of movement inside the 6-yard box. Double fist punch by Christensen. Sanchez will send it right back in. Sanchez got a touch on that one. Shot, no cross. There's the shot, it's high. Wow, Pilots dodge one there.
Great opportunity, but I guess that's why he's playing defense.
That was Murner.
A little bit behind him. You see him leaning back, and that's where that ball goes up right here. Great cutback.
Yes.
But leaning just a little bit, and he gets under it. Christensen bending over. He's happy to see that one go over the bar.
So Ray Ortiz returns. He'll give Sanchez a quick break, I imagine.
Of course, in the second half, you can come back in when subbed off per college rules, so get him a breather. But by no means have we seen the last of Eddie Sanchez tonight. Great job by Michel there.
Finds Ortiz. Coffee making run into the box. As is Dixon. Ortiz goes wide. Low cross. Cleared. Entire Portland bench up. Slapping high fives with Eddie Sanchez. Sanchez, I'm imagining, is a strong candidate for Conference Player of the Year this season.
Yeah, his fingerprints have been over not only every goal, but just an entire game as well. His style of play is one that you may not see kind of lumping around the field, or you might think that he's not working so hard, but when he gets the ball, every time he gets it, it's almost as if he's creating space for his teammates or creating an opportunity for them, or at least taking some pressure off of the game.
65th minute. Coffey's goal is still the difference. Throwing for the Gales on that far touchline. 1,900 students in attendance tonight.
I'm sure he can hear every one of them. It's not an easy position, I'm sure. Having never been on the receiving end of what that Villa Drum Squad is yelling at you, but definitely hearing it over the years, especially on those Sunday morning games where there's not necessarily as much white noise in the background.
That ball stayed in. Ortiz. Now it's Michel.
So he needs to dish it off and do his hold-up play job. He tried to get behind, good intervention, but good job to also keep possession for the Pilots.
Jeff Dunn and Mills.
And a good job pinning them down in that half. That we saw that space and open up there in that left corner. That's why I'm pointing. Devoid of a right back there. Great job by Mills to dump that ball in there, and it's not going off the end line. It still has to be dealt with by the Gales.
They mentioned the close to 2,000 students in attendance tonight, Joe. UP only has an undergraduate enrollment of about 3,700, so that is a good majority of the entire student body at UP is here tonight.
And you noted the buy-in, credit to the athletics department as a whole to really garner the attention that this game needed. It definitely was around campus. People knew about it, but to continue getting that word out there, people are showing up in droves. They were pre-gaming. They were, tailgating, getting ready for this game here on a Saturday night especially. It'll be interesting to see how this carries the Pilots through those final 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, this is the place to be in Portland, Oregon tonight, if you're a soccer fan. Thank you for joining us on CSN, wherever you may be. Pilots enjoying a 1-0 lead at the moment. Chris Reeves.
Great ball here by Dixon.
Ortiz. Takes the shot, just misses.
Ortiz, fantastic job to pull that shot back. I was curious as if he was going to settle for that 25-yard spot, but he knows his game. He's very quick. Out and out over 40 yards, he may not outpace you, but his first 2-3 steps are so quick and that touch is so tight to his body, he's able to get this snapshot off.
Yeah, that shot is absolutely hammered, looking to go near post. Electric freshman for the Pilots, Ray Ortiz. Mills, played. Finds Coffee.
Great job by Coffee to know he had that space to turn.
Ganya Rivera sends it in. Coffee takes the shot, looking far post, hits it wide.
Souvenir for some lucky fan up there. Hopefully they were paying attention.
It's a free snow cone if you bring that back to the concession stand, Slev.
I did not know that loophole, actually.
It's actually not. We don't have snow cones here.
I think it should be.
I agree.
Great look. He on that turn, he doesn't need to know where that goal is. He's just looking to curl that far post. Starting the play and actually finishing it. Coffee has really not been a stranger at all to this position that he's been put into tonight.
Playing out wide now for the Gales. Headed out.
Great touch by Dixon.
Squares it to Reeves. The two ACC transfers.
And Reeves, you know, having his defender take a seat. He's strong on the ball.
In the race for team MVP honors, Chris Reeves has to be a name you mentioned, isn't it?
He's been the unsung hero because he's been so good, so consistent. He hasn't necessarily had to make any last-minute interventions because he's been dealing with the problems before they've even come up. So I think his teammates are fully aware, and I'm sure we're only seeing a small fraction of the amount of impact that he's had on the Pilots this season.
He is one of the team captains in his first year on the Bluff. There's Jeff Dunn. It's a tumble, knocked down from behind.
This is where we talked about that chippiness. Coffee setting a little bit of a screen as he had that layoff, and then Jeff Dunn taking the brunt of the hit as number 9 did not really like what Coffee did after passing that ball off. This is where I think that card should have been brought. If you're going to give a ball to, if you're going to give a yellow to Ortiz for actually, I think, going for goal, something like that, not even near the ball, is clearly worth a yellow card.
Mills in the direction of Michelle. Tries to find Dixon. Instead, it's cleared by the Gales. Nice move by Mills. Again, center back. Johnston hits a high one forward. One in the air by the Gales. It's up at the feet of Coffee.
Unfortunate there. They were in a good spot. Well done by Magana to win that ball back.
Immediately wide to Ortiz. Ortiz. That'll be a corner kick.
And Ortiz getting to it. I thought the chance had gone. If I'm Portland, I'm looking to just run Ortiz on ISO because it seems to me he's having his way over there, running at his defender. Is he shooting? Is he going? And you kind of see that uncertainty manifesting itself in a little bit more space given Ortiz to operate.
Ortiz, the 5'5" freshman out of Acapulco, Mexico. Went to high school in the Los Angeles area. And he'll send in this corner kick. Hit it out right to Ortiz.
And he's been faking these all day, and there it is.
Dunn got a head on it. Michelle just does elude Connor Johnston. Can't elude Chris Reeves.
Chris Reeves, fantastic job. Chris Reeves sees the ball. He sees Ortiz.
Ray Ortiz putting on a show. Low cross is denied. '72nd minute.
And now the Pilots doing a great job keeping this pressure on.
It's Malcolm Dixon avoiding two Gales. Tripped up. No foul, says Drew Brooks. Now the Gales looking to counter.
And this is dangerous.
Ball into the box. There's Christensen.
Dixon again, same exact position, running at those defenders. Again, I still think that's a foul. It's a leg that's left up there. Yes, did he maybe drag his foot to get it?
Ortiz looking for Dixon. Instead, it's number 20, Rudel. There's a collision and a foul will go against the Pilots. Things definitely heating up a bit here as we've reached the 73rd minute.
You know, as a Pilots player, I'd imagine you're just trying not to look at that clock. Try to keep your eyes off it, keep engaged in the game. You haven't seen too many changes on their end. They're happy with what they're seeing. They've had a good little spell of possession and chances.
That ball took a bounce and then finally cleared by the Pilots. Matt Coffey. Gives it away. Rudel plays it back. Bremen. Bremen looking upfield. Johnson drills that one out.
Just happy to get it out of play there. And you hope that's not tired legs, but more so just trying to keep it safe. Don't try anything too crazy. And Reeves again, crucial interaction there. And his interventions around the field have shown he's doing the same thing at center back and only now just higher up the pitch.
Shot from distance, looked like it took a deflection on its way through some traffic, but there is Christensen once again.
Either that or he caught that very well.
Yes, he did.
But again, in the end, a comfortable save. Great position from Christensen.
By Dunn.
A little bit of a tennis match going on. Ball bouncing back and forth.
Out wide, but it's behind the Gale, and it's out for a point and throw. Subs for both teams. For the Gales, it's number 10. For the Pilots, it's number 10. That's De La Torre for St. Mary's. And Eddie Sanchez returns for the Pilots. Benji Michel will take a seat for the moment.
And just to call attention, Michel had a moment over here where he tried to almost loop it over his defender's head. That's where you want to see the calmness and just make a pass, add that hold-up element to your game. He's proven really great at getting behind defenses, but having that maturity to know you're up 1-0, and yes, you want to score, but not at any cost. So let's keep the ball here in their end. We have a good opportunity. Give our defense a rest. And earlier you kind of saw him try a little something too much almost.
Thrown for the Gales, Rudel. Defended well by Johnston. Rudel gets it back though. That's Schwielik. Squares it right to Magana Rivera. Now Coffey.
And again, Coffey, smart job getting his body in the way, taking the hit, calming the game down.
Less than 15 minutes in regulation remaining. Portland, if this result holds, would be the 2016 West Coast Conference champion. But Joe, how comfortable do you feel with this 1-0 lead right now?
You know, comfortable is probably not the right word. You're content with a 1-0 win if you come away with it.
This is Sanchez. Takes the shot looking far post.
And you wouldn't be comfortable until that final whistle goes.
Right. Sanchez just drives this one across the goal mouth.
This is what I talked about, his snapshot and ability to get a quality shot in. Difficult angle, you got to hit pretty much the perfect ball, and it almost comes off for Sanchez there.
Latour will be called for the foul.
Some savvy plays here by the Pilots to take the hits again. I know we've noted it a couple times, but they're doing it at the right moments.
11 fouls now on the Gales, 9 against the Pilots. Mills. Now Sanchez called for the foul.
You haven't seen too much of the Gales really trying to build through that midfield. You've seen a lot of balls gone up, them trying to win that second ball, that knockdown.
Ortiz goes to Coffey. Coffey takes a couple of touches and the shot. Matthew Coffey hits it wide.
So close and a fantastic opportunity. Looks like somebody got a touch.
Oh my goodness.
Fantastic save from the goalie there.
So corner kick for the Pilots. The crowd could not believe it. The deep one. Not a down. That's high, out for a goal kick.
You talked about comfortable, like not touching exactly on these scenarios, but if this comes off and yes, the Gales nick that goal, we talked about that tie. At 78 minutes, you're not comfortable. At 88, then you're almost there. You can almost see the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think the Pilots will at all drop off in terms of their pressure, but you never know. It's a cruel game. Breaks and bounces sometimes don't go your way. Because if that goal does come, you're looking at 20 more minutes of soccer.
Gales back to work. Out wide to Mirner. Latour. Johnston comes away with it.
And really nobody up top here for the Pilots is an outlet. But now they'll be able to get it to Ortiz. And this is where you want your players to almost go to the corner. Can they find a little ball through? Just trying to find Coffee at that point. If you don't have it, when in doubt, put it out. Put it in the corner. Don't put it out of play. And then push your defense up.
Zvilik. This ball out wide. Nearly sent back in. Disrupting that shot was, of course, Chris Reeves.
Another crucial intervention. Top of the box this time. It is absolutely more tiring, and I think this is across the board true for any sport, to play defense as opposed to offense. And now you're seeing that because not as many Pilots are probably going forward. They don't need to. They're recognizing that 1-0 gets you there. You're seeing them having to play a little bit more defense.
Number 12 for St. Mary's entering the match for the first time. It's Lucas Isaacson. And then Benji Michel will return for the Pilots.
And I think Dixon is okay if he gets a yellow card here.
Malcolm Dixon will come off. Michel, newly rested. 10 goals on the year. That leads the West Coast Conference.
St. Mary's not exactly happy with how long Dixon took to get off the field there. A little gamesmanship You're trying to kill the game off at any point. That means bring it to the corner, you don't need to attack. That means on restarts, you don't need to go as quickly or looking for fouls. And when you're subbing off, maybe somebody at the far end of the field is going to walk off, is going to take his time, maybe take his shin guards off. All these little seconds add up to minutes and add up to wins.
Under 9 minutes remaining in regulation. Portland clinging to that 1-0 lead.
You know, it's always interesting in these games, hour and a half long. And if it ends like this, those games that had a goal in the 6th minute, and then you're looking at nothing since then.
A yellow card is issued to Engebretson. Maybe some frustration there for the leading goal scorer for the Gales.
At that point, you're not getting this ball off Eddie Sanchez, who, as you can see here, reads that touch.
Free kick for the Pilots. 82nd minute. Driven all the way into the hands of Constantino.
A little bit too close to the goal there. You can see the thought, though. Trying to just get it far post. If something happens, it happens. Otherwise, it's going out of play for a throw-in.
Engebretson just picked up that yellow. As a sneak went through. Corner kick for the Gales.
As we creep here towards the 83rd minute.
Corner number, I think that says 6 on the scoreboard. Shot blocked. That looked like it might have been destined for the back of the net. And a heavy collision over there.
Sanchez has to be careful here. That is, in my eyes, a red card. But Sanchez also needs to be worried that he's not reacting. At this point, St. Mary's, you're looking for 2 goals. You're probably concerned, you're probably aware that it's a very unlikely scenario. At this point, these chippy fouls happen, and anything that comes of that really is.
Well, Portland players still down. Hey, we'll take another look. It's Ortiz.
And again here, that look, that challenge to me, it shows me number 9 was fully aware that he was not winning that ball at all. This is 100% a red card if he gets it. He is lucky to get that yellow card.
Yellow card to Rastani. Ray Ortiz still on the ground being looked at by trainer Amber Eubanks. Dangerous tackle in a dangerous part of the field.
And not to mention, if you're going for that ball, you're sliding out in front of it. He's coming side on and absolutely knows he's not going to get that ball. But if you're Ray Ortiz, you're pretty upset that that didn't result in a red card, because you took the hit and you took the challenge into the boards, right into that cement, actually.
Ortiz is up. Still some discussion over there between the AR and the head ref, Drew Brooks. And we might have,
I think,
reached for that pocket.
And he's going to give it to Sanchez
Eddie
for his
Sanchez,
reaction.
yeah. Sanchez not happy right now.
You know, from up here, we're saying, Sanchez, you got to be careful as a player, knowing what it's like to be on the field. I completely understand where he's coming from. That's your teammate. That's somebody you're in there with day in and day out, looking out for. You'd expect the same from him, and I would be more upset, maybe not at the challenge, but at the fact that he got away with just a yellow card.
So 83rd minute. Olsen out wide.
And this is what we're talking about. You don't need to beat someone, just keep it in that corner.
That should be a corner kick, and it is.
And this is absolutely where Sanchez and Ortiz really excel at getting their bodies in. I don't think the Pilots really need to send anybody into the box. But it looks like they are.
Corner number 5 for Portland.
Now there's a lot of space in that box too.
Took a deflection. Taken away. Now the Gales. Engelbretson nearly made it through.
That's an iffy touch there from Mills. At that point, just go back to your keeper. You don't need to keep the ball.
Chris Reeves. Throwing for the Pilots.
Very savvy play there from Reeves. Pilots won't be in any rush to take this throw in.
Throw goes to Coffey. Coffey again knocked down.
Again, I'm not sure why number 8 is surprised, A, that he got a foul called on him, and B, the fact that he stood over and said something and then looked like he was upset he got the foul. These are the little things that, as a player, you're like, I'm in this head. I know for a fact this guy is fed up, and I'm going to look to get challenged whenever possible, because he's going to lose his head.
Coffey has spent quite a bit of time on the ground tonight. '85th minute. Goes to Magana Rivera. He turns. Still has it. Deflected to Sanchez. Sanchez shot saved by Constantino.
What a reaction touch there from Sanchez to not only keep the ball, but also get a very good look off.
Knocks it down. Somehow got that shot off. And Constantino somehow made a save. Gale's calling for offside. Joe, it looked like he might have been offside on that. Why no call?
It's difficult to see when you're that AR, that when that shot goes and if you're hanging off, especially if it catches a deflection, because you're concerned when did it actually leave the foot, when did the deflection happen. So at that point, the beneficiary of an iffy and uncertain moment.
It is called offside on the Pilot here. Coffey wins it in the air. Magana Rivera.
Strong work done there by Mills.
Coffey looking for Michelle. Michelle gets to it. They call a foul. Wow. And play continued. I don't think they heard the whistle.
Same sort of challenge that you saw Sanchez give in the box there. And this is again that 86th minute we were talking about, or 87th minute, where you're aware, as at least a Pilots fan, that this tie would get you in there, but you don't want to see that happen.
Yeah, frantic finish here at Merlo Field. Portland still leading 1-0. Another foul will go against the Gales.
This is an interesting one, because as you go down, yes, you're trying to time waste, but that doesn't really matter when the referee stops the clock. So at that point, you are getting a breather. You let your team get their lungs back, but you're not wasting any time, really. You can hear that cheer from the Pilots fans trying to beg their team on, finish this game out, see it out.
Mills got ahead on that one. Quickly sent forward by the Gales. Engelbretson and Johnston. It's Johnston. Headed right to Coffee. Now it's Vanderveld. And a throw-in for the Pilots coming up. Coffee's still down near the halfway line. It's been a rough night for Coffee as he is more than once been sent to the pitch.
Yeah, and there I don't think it necessarily was a foul. I don't think he saw Sanchez coming out of the right, made that challenge.
Clock is stopped with 88 minutes and 7 seconds showing. So Joe, less than 2 minutes remaining at Merlo Field. What do the Pilots need to do to close out this win?
I mean, keep doing what they've been doing. Be smart at defense. No, no mistake soccer, but no risk soccer. There's no problem with you not having to pass and you just putting in the other end of the field. And you're going to see Colby Traw here actually get a run here at senior night. Come and see out this championship here for these next 2 minutes. Expect him to come in, run around, do some yelling, and that's all you want from that senior. He knows his role here. He may have been seeing heavy minutes in the prior seasons, but he's been kind of relegated almost to some extent, but by no means has he scoffed at it or looked down on it. He's taken it with open arms, and you're seeing him get a chance here.
Colby Traw, someone you played with back in your playing days?
Yeah, 1 of 2 left here. The redshirt senior. Kind of crazy to think that it's been that long, but it's good to see him out here, and it's good to see him with a great opportunity to see a championship while on the field.
That whistle goes against the Pilots.
And at this point, to me, it's not necessarily about fitness. It's about how much do you want it, how much can you run, can you beg of your body to keep pushing forward and doing the necessary work to close down spaces and make life difficult for St. Mary's as they try to get this ball forward.
Foul will go against the Pilots. Desperation time here for the Gales as we approach the final minute, but they get a free kick, and look at this, Constantino going all the way forward as Sanchez will try to drive this one into the 18-yard box. Headed out. Constantino racing to get back to his goal. Low cross, top of box, flicked in, headed out. Portland. This is Michelle. Tripped up. And a foul goes against the Gales. Ref stopping the clock. Play continues once again. I think Portland, the players are struggling to hear the whistle.
Reeves actually may have seen and may have heard it, but to keep playing to make it seem like you didn't hear that whistle, I would love if that was part of his game plan.
And a yellow card will be shown. That's to Sanchez on the takedown of Benji Michel.
And I think at this point, you know, each defender in the WCC is going to know pace for pace, you're not going to keep up with Michelle. So that's where that foul comes in. Because of the yellow card, because of the situation they're in, there is a stoppage in play. So we still have 36 more seconds here to wait out to see if Pilots can finish out these 90 minutes.
Here we go. Final seconds at Merlo Field. Magana Rivera. Throw in Pilots. Portland will take its time. Less than 30 seconds remaining. Michelle. Sanchez. Eddie Sanchez. Eddie Sanchez sends one in. Cut off. 10-second countdown has begun. Ball sent forward. Time is going to run out on the Gales, and the Portland Pilots are the 2016 West Coast Conference champions. Joe, if you don't have goosebumps right now, something's wrong with you. Look at this scene on Merlo Field. I've never seen anything like this.
And I don't think we need to really say much to show what it means to these fans, to this team. I can tell you as an alumni and somebody who's been on this field and playing these teams, been through the ups and downs, it is an absolute joy to see them succeed and get a championship. And in the fashion that they did it as well. Start to finish, they've been through the roadblocks, they jumped over the hurdles, did what they needed to do. In the end, it was a true team effort, asked upon everybody to do their part, and you can see what it means to the fans, and more importantly, those teams as well. That hard work, it means so much when it pays off.
The Pilots, winners of the West Coast Conference crown. That means they're going back to the playoffs for the first time since you were on the team, Joe, 2009.
Yeah, and it is a quick turnaround. You were at the highest of highs, and in our case, we didn't win the league, but we saw our name come selection day. You come from this absolute euphoric just peak, and you have to remain focused, keep everything in mind, because you've got the school, you've got to take care of yourself, you've got the soccer, the travel possibly, or a home game, and it's all things to balance. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but in the moment, take nothing away from it. Enjoy yourselves. You've done the work. You've accomplished something well beyond, as you heard it before at halftime, what you even expected to come start of the season.
That 2009 team made a magical run through the playoffs. Hopefully the Pilots can duplicate that success this season. And we will learn the Pilots' fate Monday morning with the NCAA selection show. That's 10 a.m. on NCAA.com. We will have a watch party here at the Child Center, but more information on that will be posted on PortlandPilots.com. For now, we will take another quick break, but when we come back, it's celebration time at Merlo Field. You're looking at a live look down on the field here at Merlo Field. The Portland Pilots in first-year head coach Nick Carlin-Voigt celebrating the 2016 West Coast Conference Championship. 1-0 the win over the St. Mary's Gales, but Joe, you got to give the Gales credit tonight. They really brought it all, didn't they?
Yeah, it was not an easy finish at all, not an easy 90 minutes. And since that goal, it really was a lot of back and forth.
And let's hear from Nick Carlin-Voigt down on the field right now.
I just wanted to thank all of the fans for coming out. We couldn't do this without you guys. I want to thank the players because these guys have been incredible since day one. They've won one conference game in the last 2 years. And we just won the championship. Let's give the players a round of applause. The fans. This is Soccer City, USA. The fans have been unbelievable. Our students behind us, our community here, our alumni over there, thank you so much. I want to honor St. Mary's. They were a very good opponent. They gave us everything we could handle. And I want to thank you. St. Mary's is a very good team. We have a fantastic president. We have a fantastic athletic director. I can't take all the credit. I have a fantastic coaching staff. Leonard Griffin, Logan Emery. Amber is one of the best trainers in the country. I want to thank Amber for everything she's done. Steve Evans. Logan Emery, but it's all about these guys. Let's let these guys celebrate.
And what's become a tradition this season, the Pilots celebrating with the Villa Drum Squad after each victory. And Slevin, how about those words from head coach Nick Carlin-Voigt?
There are few things I enjoy as much as just unbridled, unfiltered, emotional speeches or reactions to these moments, and you can just see what it means to these guys, what it means to this coaching staff to accomplish a goal and to do it in a fashion that really caught not only everybody else, but even yourself off guard. At the beginning of the season, you're always saying WCC Championship. I don't know if they truly knew it or truly meant it when they said it at the beginning of the season, but as they started putting performances together, getting those wins, it came to life and they saw it all the way through.
So many players of the game tonight. There you see one of them, Eddie Sanchez. But let's talk about Matthew Coffey. What a performance from him tonight, and he gets the game winner.
Yeah, and deserved story, really fitting in for the regular season, at least for Coffey. They got playoffs right around the corner, but from start to finish, he's been consistent, he's been solid, he's done exactly what's been asked of him, and then some, forced into different positions and really getting the job done throughout the whole season.
So the season continues, a storied season for the Portland Pilots. They will advance to the NCAA postseason, and let's hear. I think some players might be passing the mic around. It's Paul Christensen.
From every one of you helped us out. Hi, Mom.
Christensen with a shout out, of course, to his mom. You got to show mom some love on such a historic occasion. But Portland will play in the NCAA first round on Thursday. We'll find out exactly when and where Monday, that selection show. You can come watch it with us. It'll be on at 10 a.m. here in the Hall of Fame room of the Child Center. Portland, we're trying to host. If we did host a first round game, it would be on Thursday night, 7:30 kickoff. But you never know what the NCAA is going to do with the Pilots, whether or not we're going to host or travel on the road. But wherever we're playing Thursday night, Joe, it's going to be a magical moment.
Yeah, you know, conferences around the country are all wrapping up, and they've probably had equal to, you know, close to as compelling a storylines as these Pilots here. I just want a quick note that, you know, since 2009, it's been some rough years. It's been some tougher overall season performances. This was a comprehensive one. You know, it started off with that loss at Wright State. We talked about it during the broadcast. It was a little bit rough. Heads might have gone down. They didn't. They got back to work. They saw how these pieces fit together. They didn't know. They knew they had the pieces. They put them together. And to see this team come together and what this means to them, it's truly inspiring. It's really great to see.
Joe Slevin, thank you so much for being here tonight as an alum. I'm glad you got to call this game and celebrate with the Pilots. So Portland is the 2016 West Coast Conference champion, and we will see you in the playoffs. I am Adam Lindman for Joe Slevin. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, go Pilots.